back, everybody. It's Thursday, and I'm Dr. Peter Glidden, your friendly neighborhood naturopath. Call me today at 866-582-9933. That's 866-582-9933. Toll free from anywhere in the continental U.S., 866-582-9933, and 24/7 on the World Wide Web at, you guessed it, fireyourmdnow.com. That's fireyourmdnow.com, and I mean every word of it. You know, there's news happened about 6 weeks ago. My colleague, Dr. Joel Wallach, was treating a group of people for the last 10, 15 years in southern Indiana. It's an Amish group. And the Amish in southern Indiana have a disproportionately high amount of muscular dystrophy, which is supposed to be a genetic disease coded by some muscular dystrophy gene that has yet to be identified. And this community of Amish have been experimented on, researched for the last 40 years by doctors and research fellows from medical universities and teaching hospitals all around the United States, to no avail, by the way. Now, these people didn't even get a thank you very much. The researchers never come back and follow up, never give the members of the community a report of their findings. It just doesn't happen. They're using them like guinea pigs in a laboratory. Well, Dr. Wallach goes down. Dr. Wallach uses his experience with cystic fibrosis and selenium deficiencies and notices similarities. And as it turns out, from our point of view, cystic fibrosis was proved by Dr. Wallach in the 70s to be caused by not enough selenium in the pregnant mother, not enough of the mineral selenium. When the pregnant mother doesn't have enough of the mineral selenium in her blood, areas of the genetic code, chromosomal material becomes damaged. You know, kind of like if you're growing a tomato plant, but one of the stems, with the tomato on it gets a little pinch in it, so the water and nutrients can't go to the end of that stem. That end will shrivel up and die off, right? Well, it's the same thing happens in the chromosome. But geneticists, being, really extremely close-minded individuals, and I cannot stress this point enough, ladies and gentlemen, we need collectively to stop putting scientists up on a pedestal. Because their IQs might be better than yours, their intellectual prowess might be on a higher level than yours, but their common sense is extremely low, if it's there at all. Quite frankly, it's not there at all, because scientists are, generally speaking, in lockstep with one another, and they're not going to do anything outside of the box. And anybody that does do anything outside of the box is ostracized, right? For 20, 30, 40 years, until their new ideas at the time finally make their way into the mainstream. It's the rare individual who is a scientist in any area, that's going to step outside of the box with some, new theory about the relationship, a new scientific theory, in this case about the relationship between genes and medicine. So where I'm going with this line of thought, bear with me. Geneticists look at that chromosomal area and they can see that it is unique. Because, son of a gun, every time this part of the chromosome shows up, the child is born with cystic fibrosis or muscular dystrophy. But they misinterpret an area of chromosomal damage as a gene region. And then because they misinterpret it, because that's what they were taught, that's what everybody believes without question. And it's just a tragedy of biblical proportions, certainly in the case of cystic fibrosis, because Dr. Wallach proved, number one, that cystic fibrosis was not a humans-only disease, that it could in fact happen in monkeys. It could cross species lines, number one, and number two, that it was controlled by the amounts of selenium in the blood of the pregnant mother. Not enough selenium equals chromosomal damage, equals a child born with cystic fibrosis, whether it's a monkey or a human. Same thing with muscular dystrophy. Now, as it turns out, with muscular dystrophy, the chromosomal damage is in another area. It's not the same area of the chromosome. It's a different area, but it's chromosomal damage nonetheless caused by insufficient amounts of the mineral selenium. As it turns out, the Amish, who are an extremely unique group of people. I've had the privilege and the pleasure of lecturing to the Amish community 3-4 times in the last 3 years. And, you know, they're an extraordinarily committed group of people. They are committed to their particular lifestyle. The Amish don't shop at the grocery store. They eat what they grow and what they make. You know, when we're eating food that we buy at the local supermarket, that food is coming to us from all over the world. You know, we get grapes from South America, we get avocados from California, we get oranges from Florida, we get walnuts from Greece, for goodness sake, right? All over the world. These foods that we're purchasing at the local supermarket were all grown in different soils around the world, and because they're grown in different soils around the world, there's a greater chance that they're going to have a greater amount, a broader cross-section of minerals than food that's grown in our own backyard. And well, that's how it is. As it turns out with the Amish people, because they only eat the food that they grow, their food was completely deficient, had zero selenium. There's no selenium because there's no selenium in their soil in that part of southern Indiana. Dr. Wallach went to the state and got the maps, county by county, of the mineral content of the soil. And guess what? In the area of southern Indiana where the Amish lived, there was no selenium in the soil, zero. Which is why their children were born with a disproportionately high amount of muscular dystrophy. Now, here's where it gets interesting. Jerry Lewis, the spokesperson for muscular dystrophy, right? He's had telethons for as long as I can remember, once a year, about muscular dystrophy to raise money for research for muscular dystrophy, and they've raised hundreds of millions of dollars for research, which, by the way, has produced zero clinical results. Well, Dr. Wallach compiled his findings from working with the Amish muscular dystrophy kids for the last, number of years. And together with myself, we sent it to Jerry Lewis personally and the Muscular Dystrophy Foundation of America that sponsors him. And this year, on the Muscular Dystrophy telethon, where was Jerry Lewis? He wasn't there. He was persona non grata all of a sudden. Now, Dr. Wallach just got off the phone with Jerry Lewis's personal assistant 2 weeks ago, and he said, well, what happened to Jerry? And he said, well, after we got your information, the Muscular Dystrophy Board fired everybody and told Jerry Lewis to go take a hike because they didn't want to hear anything about a cure for muscular dystrophy. And that's Dr. Wallach driving the bus, ladies and gentlemen. I've said it before. I'll say it again. I will say it until the cows come home. Medicine in the United States is not results-driven. It is profits-driven. And if you're happy with the results that $1 trillion of cancer research have given you, if you're happy with the results that millions of dollars of muscular dystrophy and cystic fibrosis and coronary heart disease and high blood pressure and type 2 diabetes research have given you, then God bless you, and continue to visit the MDs, continue to pay exorbitantly high prices in medical insurance to gain access to a system of medicine that does not work. Hey, it's a free country. You can do whatever you want to do. But the only reason that people do things that are not in their own best interest is because they don't know there's another way. Well, guess what? There is another way. Healing is easy. Surgery is complicated. If you have a bullet in your arm, you're bleeding to death, you want to go to the MD, you want to go to the emergency room. But according to Harvard University, you want to make sure that the emergency room doctor is not addicted to prescription drugs, alcohol, or street drugs, as 51% of them are, as reported by Harvard University. So if you're unlucky enough to be transported to the emergency room, have your doctor drug tested before you let him near you with a scalpel. In any event, that's their forte. But when it comes to heart disease and cystic fibrosis and muscular dystrophy and infertility and autism and Alzheimer's disease and arthritis and fibromyalgia and high blood pressure and type 2 diabetes and type 1 diabetes, when it comes to all types of cancer, going to an MD is a fool's errand. And you will pay dearly for it with your life if you're among the unlucky, as the leading cause of death in the United States is MD-directed medical treatments to the tune of 780,000 people a year. 700,000 people more or less die from heart disease. 550,000 from cancer, which means your MD is more dangerous than heart disease or cancer. Go figure. Years ago, when there was people were more prone to go on strike than they are now, hospital workers were striking all over the country. And when the hospitals shut down, guess what happened? The mortality rates dropped. Because hospitals now, this was just reported in, it was a major news publication. It might have been the New York Times 3-4 days ago. It was at the beginning of this week. Hospitals now in the United States are the third leading cause of death. The third leading cause of death, hospitals. For goodness sake, ladies and gentlemen, we're inside out and upside down. And that's why I have this radio show. It's like Emmanuel is on the line with a question about tangy tangerine. Emmanuel, thanks for calling. You are live.
Hello, Dr. Glidden. I'm pleased to speak with you. Thanks for taking my call.
It's my pleasure.
I think you should change your last name to Dr. Gluten because of your passion for gluten. No, I'm just kidding.
Emmanuel, are you a member of the Amish community?
Yes, I am. How did you know?
Well, it's the accent, really. And did you hear the lead-in when I was talking about Dr. Wallach's? Are you in the Amish community in Indiana that Dr. Wallach's been working with muscular dystrophy with?
No, I'm in Kentucky.
Okay, well, there you go. All right, so big things are happening amongst the Amish in southern Indiana with muscular dystrophy. I mean, it's a big deal. And this autumn, if we can get Jerry Lewis to go public with why he got canned from the Muscular Dystrophy Foundation, it's going to be a big deal. So in any event, I digress. What's your question? Thanks for calling.
Okay, I'm on the longevity products, and a lot of my family is too. And one of my brother-in-laws, my sister, my wife's foster sister, and a bunch of them are saying that Beyond Tangy Tangerine gives them a headache. And they want to know why. So they said, you should call one of those guys and ask them. So I said, well, I'll call him, and then I'll let him listen to it.
Okay, good. All right, so there's one of two reasons why that is happening. They're in the Beyond Tangy Tangerine red multivitamin, multimineral powder. There are 117 concentrated fruits and vegetables. That's a lot of stuff, man. Plus there's minerals, plus there's vitamins, plus there's antioxidants. There's a lot of stuff in that red powder. But when it comes to an adverse reaction like constipation, gas, diarrhea, or headaches, 99 times out of 100, it's one or more of the proteins that are in one or more of those 117 fruits and vegetables. So, now, the other possibility is that the people who are experiencing the headache are simply drinking the stuff too quickly in too concentrated a form. So here's the workaround for that. So whomever is experiencing the headache, the first thing that they want to do is completely go cold turkey on the Beyond Tangy Tangerine for 24 hours. Don't drink any of it at all for 24 hours. And then when they start it up again, I want them to take half the normal dose in twice as much water. So if they were taking 2 scoops in 16 ounces of water before, and that was giving them headaches, then I want them to take 1 scoop in 32 ounces of water. And I want everybody who's doing this to take at least 30 minutes to drink each glass down. Now, if they take half the dose in more water and that diluted, and they take 30 minutes to drink it, and they still get a headache, then they're just allergic to it.
Well,
so
all of those 3 that have trouble with the headache, I know I have a little bit of history of like hypoglycemia, low blood sugar. And I was wondering if that's connected.
It could be connected, although if it were connected, you would not expect specifically the Beyond Tangy Tangerine to exaggerate that particular symptom, right? You would actually think that the Beyond Tangy Tangerine would help with that. So it's more likely a food allergy, or they're just taking it in too concentrated a dose, right? Now, it's funny you should mention gluten, because whether it is a too concentrated a dose problem or it's a food allergy problem, guess what the root cause of both of those are? Gluten. So anybody that's having any problem with the Beyond Tangy Tangerine, and I don't care what the problem is, man. I don't care if it's constipation, gas, diarrhea, headache, blurry vision. I don't care what it is. They're having that problem because their intestinal tracts have been compromised by decades, usually decades, and when in kids it's years, right, of stress from gluten. So, interestingly enough, you're a little prophetic here. Anybody who's having a problem with Beyond Tangy Tangerine, they really need to dial in the gluten-free diet 100%. Now, if they drink it in the diluted form and they still have trouble, then they have to switch it out to a different product, and my favorite is Tropical Plus. Phones with Cassandra, calling from Connecticut. Cassandra, you are live with Dr. Glidden. Thanks for calling.
I was calling because I was interested in I do take the longevity product.
Yeah.
And I wanted to ask, I have neurofibromatosis in my face.
Yeah.
Where it makes one side of my face puffy, and it's kind of...
You've had that your whole life. That's called von Recklinghausen's disease, right? How long have you've had that for how long?
Just about my whole life, but it didn't kind of flare up until I kind of started getting older.
Yeah, that's interesting, isn't it? Is it giving you any, numbness or tingling or pain?
No, I've had 4 surgeries to kind of get my skin cut down.
Yeah. All right. Well, here's the deal. How long have you been doing the longevity stuff?
I just started.
All right. Good girl. And did you find out about longevity through FDI?
No, I didn't. I found out through another member.
Okay, very good. All right, well, that's how we do it, right? Teamwork. Teamwork is everything here. We're building a grassroots coalition all across the world of people who catch a clue about the wonders of clinically verified medical nutrition. So von Recklinghausen's disease, also called neurofibromatosis,
right?
The MDs believe it's a genetic thing, and that it's an autosomal dominant disease, and if 50% of the parents have it, then, or if one of the parents have it, then 50% of the kids have it. But also, it can spontaneously occur, which is interesting. Right. Now, whenever you see that type of an issue with a genetic disorder, what that really means is the geneticists are clueless about the original cause of this problem, right? So what we suspect in von Recklinghausen's disease, or neurofibromatosis, is that there has been oxidative damage to your chromosomal material somewhere along the line. And that's similar, Cassandra. If you cut an apple and leave it on the table cut it in half, leave it on the table. The fruit that's exposed, after about 30, 40 minutes, will start to turn brown, right?
Right.
That's caused by oxidative damage. It's the same thing that makes iron or steel turn to rust. It's oxidative damage. It's the same thing that makes wine go bad. Oxidative damage destroys just about everything, for goodness sake. And so whenever anybody shows up with this illness or illnesses which are similar to this, our first blush idea is that that person who's been afflicted with that has been exposed to stuff in the food that is causing oxidative damage. Now, of all of the foods that anybody can eat, the foods that have the highest amount of trouble in this regard are fried foods. Anything fried. And I mean anything fried. Fried chicken, fried fish, fried broccoli, fried, I don't care what it is, fried egg. If you cook anything in a heated oil, you're going to dramatically increase the chances of oxidative damage in the body. So this begs the question, Cassandra, how much a part of your diet is fried food?
Most of my diet is fried food.
Well, hallelujah and pass the hat. I think we've solved it. Yeah, right? This is the cultural thing. It's an African-American thing. And this is the reason that African-Americans, in the United States anyway, have shorter lifespans, higher amounts of type 2 diabetes, and heart disease. It's not because of some mysterious black gene, for goodness sake. It's not because of an inferior racial trait. It's nonsense. The reason that all of these things happen is because by hook or by crook, for whatever reason, African Americans as a group tend to eat way more fried food than anybody else. So one of the things you have to do, Cassandra, and I mean this is as serious as a heart attack, you have to completely stop eating all fried foods. And I mean zero tolerance for anything fried. I don't even want you eating potato chips unless they're baked, all right? I don't want you to have organic vegetables grown by Trappist monks harvested under a full moon while they're chanting if they're cooked in oil. I don't care how good the food is. Do not eat anything. I don't even want you to be downwind of anybody frying anything, all right? Now, also, I'd like you to please go to my website, fireyourmdnow.com. Fire Your MD Now. That's easy to remember. Yeah. And right there on the front page, you can sign up for my mailing list, and that's free. And when you sign up for the mailing list, we'll email you my good food, bad food document. And we're also going to email you a free video that explains why the foods are good and why they're bad. And in addition to fried food, there are 9 other foods that I want you to stop eating. And I want everybody to stop eating these 10 bad foods. By everybody, I mean everybody. So go to the website, sign up for the mailing list. It's free. You'll get the good food, bad food list, and then I want you to eliminate all of the food that's on the bad food list. And here's what I recommend you take for longevity supplements every month, okay? 1 anti-aging healthy start pack. 1 anti-aging healthy start pack per 100 pounds of body weight per month. I want you to take 1 bottle of Ultimate Selenium, S-E-L-E-N like Nancy, I-U-M, per 50 pounds of body weight per month. And I want you to educate yourself about the antioxidant value of different foods. Antioxidant food value. You can do that on the World Wide Web for free. Now, antioxidants are measured by something called an ORAC score, O-R-A-C. And I want your goal to be 100,000 ORAC points of antioxidants a day going down into your stomach. 100,000 points. Now, you can do this by switching from bananas to blueberries, from switching from white wine to red wine, from switching from coffee to tea, unless you get Longevity's coffee, because that's loaded with antioxidants. So there are things that you can do with simple food substitutions, using cinnamon and using curry powder and using cayenne pepper, things like this that will go a long way towards helping to give antioxidants to your body, and that's what you're going to need in this regard. And the last thing to do is to start focusing on eating foods that are high in cholesterol. High in cholesterol, because guess what? Your nerves are made from cholesterol. So we want to be providing your body with the raw materials it can use to repair itself, if it's possible to repair itself. So, for goodness sake, if I broke a bone, I'd want to be eating foods that are high in calcium or taking calcium supplements. And if I have a problem with my nerves, I'm going to be wanting to be eating foods that are high in nerve stuff. And guess what? Your nerves are all made from cholesterol. Okay. The easiest way to skin this cat is with eggs. So, have 4, 5, 6 eggs a day. And eat them soft-boiled, soft-scrambled in butter, or poached. And if you eat them soft-boiled or poached, put butter and salt on them. I don't want you to eat the chicken skin. I want you to throw the chicken away as long as it's not fried. I want you to eat cheese and full-fat milk and full-fat yogurt. Stuff that's high in cholesterol and good fats, because fat does not make you fat, Cassandra. Lack of nutrients makes you fat, all right? So change your diet, eliminate those 10 bad foods, increase your intake of antioxidants, increase your intake of selenium, do the Healthy Start Pack, and give this 6 months. 6 months. This is going to take longer than other things to get on the other side of it, if you can get on the other side of it. So give this program 6 months. Call me back with a report. And if you need any help along the way, I'm also happy to help. Thank you so much for calling. Appreciate it. We're going to go right now to Oregon with Mary, who has a question about Asperger's disease. Hello, Mary. You're live with Dr. Glidden.
Hi, Dr. Glidden. I'm a longevity associate.
Smartest girl in class, you are, Mary.
I'm sorry?
You're the smartest girl in class.
Oh, well, thank you. I hope you guys can get Jerry Lewis to come out about MD.
Yeah, me too.
I really hope that happens. I do have a question. I know 2 families. Well, I actually know more than 2, but 2 specific families. They have between them 3 girls and 2 boys, and they have various levels, functioning levels of autism, Asperger's.
Yeah, Asperger's disease, yeah.
Right. And what was missing in their diet? The mother's diet, or maybe in the children's diet?
Well, see, both. But here's my question, Mary, and it's time for some tough love, all right? Mm-hmm. Why aren't they calling me?
I don't know. Because they're just learning about it, that's why.
Yeah, okay. So this is the deal, right?
Right.
So as we're building our longevity family across the country, it's important, not only for financial reasons, but for, results, right? Because a lot of people come into longevity, they don't really give 2 hoots about the money, but they're really on fire to help their family and their church members and their community members, right? So what's necessary here, Mary, is an effective method of showing people what we're up to in a way, right, that makes them run to you instead of running away from you.
Right.
Right.
And
now,
it's funny, one of the families ran away from me and the other one's all over it. It's like, oh, this is awesome.
Well, yeah, people are funny like that. And, that goes back to the parable of the farmer, right? The sower had good seeds. And, some of the seed fell on rocky ground, and some of the seed the birds got, and some of the seed started to grow, and it was choked out by the weeds, right? Right. That's just human nature. But so the way that, maybe you're doing this already, but I'm gonna put this out here just for the listening audience, and then I'll answer the question about autism and Asperger's. All right? Okay. What we recommend when you encounter somebody who's struggling with a health condition, and for goodness sake, throw a stick, right? Whoever you hit is going to be struggling with a health condition, because everybody in this country is sick. So when you find somebody who's struggling with a health condition, you walk up to them and you have a copy of The Best of Dead Doctors Don't Lie or one of my CDs, Who Made the MD King or Healing is Easy. And all you do is you say to them, listen, I know a doctor who says you don't have to suffer with that. If I lend you this CD, will you listen to it? That's all you have to say. I know a doctor who says you don't need to suffer with that. If I lend you this, will you listen to it? You know, that's a 30-second pitch. And, you know, you just keep asking that question until you get a yes or a no. And the answer to that question is yes or no. So if it's a no, you thank them and walk away. But if it's a yes, you lend them the CD, collect their information, schedule a time to pick the CD up, and then when you collect the CD, you invite them to an event. And the easiest events to invite to are webinars. With Mary from Oregon, who has a question about Asperger's and autism. So from our point of view, Mary, you know, autism is more appropriately defined as the autism spectrum, because there are children that are born with different degrees of dysfunction. And depending on where on the spectrum they fall, we can help them or not so much. So what we do with this and with Asperger's and with everything, for goodness sake, is we think about it and we say, well, son of a gun, the human body is endowed with a God-given ability to fix itself. I know that. Number one. Number two, what does the human body need in order to optimize its repairing mechanisms? Well, it needs 91 essential nutrients. Okay, so what are we going to do? We're going to give, in this case, one healthy start pack per 100 pounds of body weight per month. Now, what else do we know? Well, specifically we know about autism and Asperger's, that these are conditions which affect the neurological system. So the neurological system needs lots and lots and lots of minerals. It needs a lot of minerals to make sure that everything, all the enzymatic processes are happening and all the synapses are firing. It's an extremely sophisticated thing that the MD psychiatrists think that they can leverage with, you know, brain chemistry enhancing drugs. It's a fool's errand. So what do we have that has the minerals in it? It's the plant-derived minerals. So it's one healthy start pack and one bottle of plant-derived minerals, or the cherry mints, which is the plant-derived minerals with cherry flavor added to it, per 100 pounds of body weight per month. Now, in addition to that, because selenium is such a wonder nutrient, and man, selenium does so much. I gave a webinar about selenium last night. Man, it was great. We had people from Trinidad. We had people from El Salvador. We had people from Canada. We had people from all around the United States. It was a great webinar, and the information was great. Selenium is one of my favorite nutrients, and everybody gets selenium, especially if we're recovering from some type of a neurological illness. Selenium supplementation, if you know someone who has a stroke, selenium supplementation, selenium, by the way, it's a mineral supplement, folks. It's a mineral like calcium or magnesium or iron, right? Selenium has been proven to remarkably increase and speed up recovery time of people who had stroke. Man, now, if you have stroke, you have neurological damage. So selenium has been proven clinically to help the body repair neurological damage. So what the heck? If someone has Asperger's or autism, I'm going to give them selenium. Now, the recommended dose here, from my point of view, in order to support and promote the health of the neurological system, is one bottle of selenium per 50 pounds of body weight per month. So we're going to do the Healthy Start Pack, the plant-derived minerals, the selenium, and also get the people, get the children who are involved here, or maybe they're young adults by now, to clean their diet up. And that's the hardest thing with these kids. It is the hardest thing with these kids because, especially with little autistic kids, the parents feel so sorry for the children that the parents are going to be hard-pressed to remove the child's favorite food. And invariably, the child's favorite food is one of our bad foods. It's 10 foods we characterize as bad. So the parents really need to dial in tough love here. Clean the child's diet up, the good food, bad food diet, and give the supplementation. Now, the final nail in this coffin, as far as the therapeutic intervention goes, would be foods that are high in fat and low in sugar. Now, we're not going to get too confused about the whole sugar issue because the body loves sugar, the body needs sugar, and sugar is the gasoline of the body. You couldn't blink an eyelash without it. The problem here is not sugar, the problem is too much. So you want to be, put them on a normal diet with fruits and vegetables and rice and beans and fish and chicken and, not a whole lot of sweets, right? Not a whole lot of extracurricular sweets, and a diet that's loaded in high fat like eggs. Give these children 2, 3, 4 eggs cooked in butter every day, and don't forget to put salt on it. Give that a try. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Dr. Peter Glidden. Visit me, please, 24/7 on the World Wide Web at fireyourmdnow.com. That's fireyourmdnow.com. And tell your friends and family about this show, folks. I'm here Monday through Friday, and then we podcast for 24 hours after the fact at gcnlive.com.